This may be an unpopular opinion, but I actually like that Lyft did this. I was on the Lyft app and I got this notification that said, hey, you can now take a Lyft shared ride with a friend. So I checked my email as well, because of course I got an email about this as well, that now you can either do a shared ride with you or you and one other person. When you go to order a shared ride now on Lyft, you do get a pop-up that says, hey, how many people? One or two? Now, I gotta be honest, I actually do like that they updated this. I know, and I have to say, every rideshare driver knows that shared rides are the worst. Formerly called Uber Pool and Lyft Line, now they're called Uber X Share and Lyft Share. Shared rides, just not fun. I still remember my first ever Uber Pool driving where two people got in the car. They didn't know they ordered an Uber Pool or Uber X Share, because back in the day, it was actually the default start. So when you pulled up the app and you went to order, it automatically selected Uber Pool first. And a lot of people didn't know that. They're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do that. I gotta get to work. Two people ordered an Uber Pool and they were both late for work and they were arguing in the car who should get there first. And I'm like, wow, this new Uber Pool feature kind of sucks as a driver. It's pretty bad. And over time, it's not really gotten any better. I gotta say that. Of course, during the pandemic, the whole shared ride aspect went away and then it came back. But in the beginning, when it came back for both Uber and Lyft, you could only have one person in a shared ride situation. Now you can have multiple. And here's the reason why I do like this is I remember, and this to me is just, I feel like it's a little too excessive or too extra, that Uber used to be able to do 3 pools or 3 shared rides all at once. So let's say you're driving, you pick up passenger A, you then go and pick up passenger B, you then go and pick up passenger C. So you have 3 individual people with 3 unique destinations, all going different places, and the algorithm tries to match it as best they can, and it's so chaotic. Yeah, the app does kind of take care of it, so as a driver, you just, go to the next destination, drop them off, or pick them up. But I mean, there's been times, and this happens a lot more than most people think, where let's say you pick up passenger A, then B, then C, you drop off C, then drop off B, then you pick up a new passenger, so let's call them passenger D, and then passenger A is like, wait, I got picked up first. We already dropped off 2 people, and then we picked up a new third person, and now somehow, as the driver, you get blamed. So the reason why I actually do like this feature when it comes to Lyft, and I'm kind of glad they brought this back, is I feel like doing a shared ride with 2 people means that not always, but typically, there will be, on average, only 2 shared rides happening simultaneously. Now, I don't know if they're, let's say, gonna remove that third ride option, but overall, I do think this is a good feature. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, I'm still not a fan of shared rides. No driver is, let's be honest. But I think being able to add one other person in means that typically there'll be less shared rides. And I think it just makes the whole experience a lot better. Now, of course, there is that situation that does happen. I remember before the pandemic, a surprising amount where if you do a shared ride with 2 people, I found a lot of times there would also be a shared ride with another 2 people. So it would be a bit of a packed car where you have the driver, person in the in shotgun, and then 3 people in the back, and you're like, great. And then obviously one party or one group of people has to be broken up, right? And I know this would happen with friends where they'd be like, oh shoot, it's me and you. Someone has to sit in the back with these 2 random people we don't know. And for me, I actually usually like doing that. Like, I don't know, I like meeting new people. But that is one of those tricky social things. Although I will say, as a side note, little fun fact, one of my friends actually met her husband in an Uber Pool. And I always said to her, like, you should try to get Uber to sponsor that wedding, because that's a great story for Uber, But when it comes to this story, getting more specific to Lyft's new feature, that they now have 2 people, or potentially 2 people, I do think it's good, and I like the GUI change too. In case you don't know, GUI stands for Graphical User Interface. Basically, the fact that now it pops up and they ask you. Because back in the day, and I get maybe why they did it, but it was kind of annoying that when you used to actually order a Lyft Line or a Lyft Shared, for example, the weird thing is the driver would have to kind of say, oh, yeah, they only have 1 person with them. Or, oh, actually, you know what? It's 2. So the driver would then have to, like, tell Lyft almost retroactively, here's how many people's in the shared ride. Now, though, you have to tell them proactively. Before you even order the ride, before you even request that Lyft, you have to tell them one or two. And I do think this makes it a lot better as well, as there's no confusion. Because I remember sometimes I was, like, say, in a Lyft shared or an Uber shared, and someone went to do a Uber pool, or, you know, this is, again, pre-pandemic, and all of a sudden, the car would pull up, there's already, like, say, 3 people there, which means there's only 1 extra seat, but there's 2 people, and the driver had to be like, well, sorry, guys, you ordered an Uber pool, but I only have 1 extra seat, and you should have said, you know, so it causes kind of a dilemma and all these kind of situations that do happen with a shared ride. Like I said, overall, I do think this is a good thing. I still feel like shared rides are not what they used to be, whether it is people still kind of being a bit nervous post the pandemic. I'm honestly not sure, but I do feel like shared rides are definitely not as common. I tried taking one recently, just like a couple months ago, just to test the waters, being like, all right, what is it like now? Kind of simple. We did drive, we picked somebody else up, we dropped them off, then they dropped me off. So yeah, it kind of worked pre-pandemic style, but also in another sense, I felt like that I didn't save as much money compared to pre-pandemic. I feel like that the extra cost of doing a normal Lyft or Uber is kind of worth it as opposed to doing the shared ride. You know, I remember back in the day, the difference between a shared ride and a regular Lyft or Uber can be massive. I mean, there's times where I went out to an event in LA and I spent like $12 to do, like, say, an Uber shared, when that same ride would be like closer to $30. So I'm getting almost a 50% discount just by doing a shared ride. A lot more worth it. Now I feel like it's not that much. Even when it comes to Uber, Uber has this weird thing where, like, say, if you do a shared ride, you get, like, I think it's like only 5% off, and I'm trying to remember how it works, but it's like you get 5% off, and they're changing this too, by the way. I want to say that too. They're changing their terms a little bit here and there as time has gone on, but it's like you get 5% off, and if you don't pick up somebody else, like, say you just take it as if it's a normal Uber where you don't pick up anybody else, you get, like, I think $2 in Lyft credit, or $2 in Uber credit or something like that. It is kind of weird how they're doing it. I think they're still trying to figure this out, but I do think this is a step in the right direction. I will say that. Maybe some drivers will disagree with me, but I think that the fact that now you can have 2 people means that the amount of simultaneous shared rides happening at once is going to be a lot less than before. We could easily have 3 shared rides at once, which is super chaotic, super hectic, and overall just super annoying.